All right, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Tuesday, November 26, 2024 is the date, 10:47 a.m. here, California time. The latest activity here on the globe shows at 1.0 into California. Notice a bunch of movement happening over here across the Japan area. Earlier this morning, a 6.1 earthquake coming into the region, along with, a significant aftershock sequence as well. Now, if you guys recall, this is the area that had some movement back earlier this year. Let me zoom in here and show you guys. Here's the newest activity here with today's 6.1 and quite a few fours in there as well. Now, previous activity throughout this year, we had a 7.1 back here, or 7.5, excuse me, to start off the beginning of the year. That a little bit further up to the northeast here. But we've seen since then quite a few fives and sixes within this sequence. One thing I'm noticing, though, is a migrational pattern here across the area with a more notable movement to the southwest with today's recent activity. So that's a little interesting sequence there, but also a little concerning because I feel this activity in general is continuing to put the strain out here across this region here of the Kumano Ridge. This is the subduction zone that the Japanese government put out here a couple months back they put a warning out for a megaquake for this subduction zone because of the increasing movement all around it here recently. In fact, you can see some of that activity within this region right here. This is about the time they put out that megaquake warning when this 7.1 back in August struck. And that is towards the southern end here of the Kumano Ridge. Since then, not a whole lot of earthquake activity specifically on this subduction zone. This earthquake here coming in a few days ago, 5-pointer. There's one right smack dab on that subduction zone back in September. 4.5 back in August. So this is the area they're a little concerned about seeing some larger scale potential. So all this movement around it here recently a little concerning because that could definitely be pointing out some larger scale adjustment about ready to take place here along that subduction zone region. But for now, we'll deal with this 6.1, a couple other fours in there as well. But if we check out the EMSC model, which is basically a different agency here. It's a European model showing earthquake activity. Same as what's on the globe. There's all that earthquake activity happening today. Quite a few earthquakes there in the last 12 hours or so. And quite a few threes in there in the mix. So we'll watch the Kumano Ridge area, the Japan region, definitely showing quite a bit of uptick here recently in the earthquake department. No tsunami from that 6-pointer, by the way. You have to have these larger quakes up above the mid-sevens and higher. And that, of course, all depends on what type of boundary it sits on. Most of the time, we see the tsunamis here with the subduction zone interface plates, sections of the plates. That 7.5, I think, triggered maybe a very small tsunami earlier this year across the Japan area, the western side. But normally, we have to have the big mega quakes along the subduction zones where they take place to produce those significant tsunamis. Let's take a look here at the rest of the model here. Back out of that historical data, see what we have. California, yesterday we were watching this area down here off the San Andreas Fault. No new earthquake activity to report, at least according to the USGS. I have been watching this early this morning, the seismograph stations here, and I've seen a few earthquakes come into the China Lake area, and the China Lake is going to be roughly up around this area here, somewhere within this region. And there's been a handful of earthquakes popping up here on the seismograph stations, but nothing showing up here on the graphs or on the earthquake catalog. So they're not reporting some of these earthquakes out here, which is not cool. But we'll continue to watch that. No new movement here across this area of the San Andreas Fault for now. It was getting a little sketchy yesterday when we see that activity stirring up here on the southern end of the San Andreas Fault. And I showed you guys the historical model here It's in a rare area. We don't see a whole lot of earthquake activity here. Even microquake activity does not occur within this area of the San Andreas Fault. More so off of it on the San Bernardino Mountains, but specifically right smack dab on it, yeah. Had me a little bit nervous yesterday. I don't think we're out of the woods, though, until after the big one, right? If you think about it. That will buy us some more time in terms of seeing another larger mega quake if we were to have a mega quake soon here. You know, it's coming. We're living in that time of any time now, any day now that we could see an 8.1 out here. And all these little signs across the area of Southern California recently could be the telltale signs of something coming soon. And yesterday's event is a little sketchy, let me say. That right smack dab on the San Andreas Fault there, the southern segment. Okay, so got that from yesterday. Really not a whole lot of newer activity from today. A look at the 2.5 and above map. Well, it shows a lot of the activity there from yesterday. By the way, there was a 3.2, a 2.8, and a couple other smaller quakes there in that sequence of earthquakes there, right smack dab on the San Andreas Fault, the southern branch. Today, a little bit different story. Not a whole lot happening down there. Most of the activity up north here, it looks like, in Northern California. Some of it, there's not even a whole lot happening. This is the Clear Lake volcanic field around Cobb Mountain. Hydrothermal plants in full swing out here. These guys inject raw sewage into the area below, the heated areas below, to create steam, some type of dry steam there, which creates energy. And there's a number of these power plants out there, and these are all induced earthquakes, man-made out there due to that ongoing energy processing. One little earthquake up here across the southern end of the Cascadia. Fairly shallow earthquake, 1.6. Nothing big going on there for now. A couple earthquakes there from yesterday. Up into the Pacific Northwest, some smaller quakes around Mount St. Helens, but really nothing spectacular going on there for now. Yellowstone National Park up here, super volcano. Looks like a few earthquakes there today, so let's go double check that from the thumbnails, the Yellowstone overview thumbnails here. Yeah, there it is. Showing up quite nicely on Maple Creek. How many earthquakes do you guys see here? Quite a bit, right? Are you guys counting more than 7 earthquakes? I can count 7 probably on the first line alone. There's probably 7 times 3 or 4 out here in the last 12 hours. So they're only reporting a little fraction of the earthquake activity that's actually happening out here. Nothing big. In fact, the largest magnitudes appear to be a 1.6 at 0854. So that's going to be 54. It could be this one. This is going to be maybe this one right here. Mountain time 854. Yeah, that's going to be the 1-pointer. All these other quakes, smaller quakes, probably below, obviously below that threshold, but still they're earthquake activity, right? And there's probably about 30 earthquakes there on the map that need to be added onto the catalog here. That's why I always like to double check these seismograph stations, make sure that they're being transparent with the number being reported out here, but they're not right now. So earthquakes, a little sequence of events up there today. Nothing big. Obviously, we've seen larger swarms in the past, but that's a little decent one starting off today. We'll see if that continues today or tonight. Maybe it might just die out completely. We'll have to see. Oil fields out here in Texas, little scattered out here today. Over across the New Jersey area, one little earthquake. 1.5 coming in within the last hour. That's an area that's seen a number of small earthquakes here in the last 30 days. Really nothing big. But they had a little bit of larger activity here a few months back. Can't remember the exact magnitude, but it caught people's attention out there. All right, the rest of the model here. Let's see what we got for Hawaii. 2.2, latest earthquake. Really nothing changing out here for now. Quick glance at the... Let's pull up the Kilauea volcano. deformation chart here to see what we have. Looks like some slight inflation going on here. Really nothing big across the summit area. Let's go ahead and check out the seismograph stations here. A couple smaller earthquakes there. It looks like early this morning. Maybe some magma movement, it looks like there. That does look like fluid movement happening across that area. That's going to be the... well, it's not showing up on this one, so it's hard to say if that's actually going to be magma movement or some type of outside interference. No, it showed up on that station as well, too. So let's check this one, this bottom one. Not on the bottom one. So whatever's going on here may be local across this area. This image, let's see if this is a newer image here. 11:26, it is. Beautiful blue clear sky out there across the Big Island today. But there's not a whole lot going on underground right now. Just kind of a standstill. A little bit of minimal earthquake activity, maybe some magma movement down there, but it's hard to say if that's indeed what we were seeing there on the seismograph stations. All right, backing out of here, check out the rest of the world here on the Earthquake 3D globe. Let's see, outside of Turkey, it looks like a 4.4 happening over here. It may actually be around the Iran area. A little 4.4. Minimal adjustment there across the Mediterranean for now. Some 2s and 3s. The Atlantic Ocean, pretty quiet. Nothing going on there across the rift boundaries today. Across the Peru-Chile Trench, a 5-pointer coming in earlier this morning. Late last night, it looks like maybe as well, for a 5.1. A lot of older activity here on the Middle America Trench, Puerto Rico Trench region. This area not showing a whole lot of newer activity. The majority of that from yesterday. So we'll see what brings about today. Watch the Kumano Ridge. Watch the Japan area. A lot going on out here. That's a lot of movement for a 6-pointer. Quite a few 3s bumping out there. Again, watch this area of the Kumano Ridge. Again, which sits right just down here across this area of Japan. All around it recently. Now today's activity up north, putting a strain out there on the Kumano Ridge area. That's very capable of seeing I think an upper 8-pointer. All right, let's check out, let's see what else we got here for space weather activity. Seems like we get these sunspots popping up and they look like they're going to be active, and then all of a sudden they just fade away. We've dipped back down into the C-flare category with just very minimal M-flare activity. Not even an M-flare, actually, here in the last 24 hours. Over the last 48 hours, yes, a couple M-flares, maybe a near X-flare there, but things have calmed down out here on the sun. Let's take a look here at the magnetic complexity of the sunspots, and they're looking a little bit disorganized here. This clearly has a clear-cut separated core. This one's starting to get one as well. What that tells me is that we're going to watch these continue to fade out and just die away. So I can't say we're looking at too much activity from these regions here in the forecast. This area back on the northeastern quadrant of the sun, yes, there's actually a little bit of closeness there within the colors, indicating complexity magnetically, that is. And that's what you need and want if you want some stronger flaring. So we'll watch that area up on the northeastern quadrant there. 20% chance for X-flare, C-flare at 99, M-flare at 60% chance. No major auroras in the forecast, but it looks like there's an added, well, maybe a G1 storm coming up. Not for sure where that's coming from. Let's go check and see where he's getting that number from. So we'll go over to the Space Weather Prediction Center, and these guys have a little graph here that I like to watch. We'll watch the sun here in the yellow, Earth in the green, stereo A here. Oh, I see what's going on. There was a slight CME there recently. Not Earth directed. It looks like we're just barely going to get a glancing blow from that CME. Really not expecting much at all. Even if this model verifies, a lot of times it doesn't. There's Earth again. Just barely clipping us. I wouldn't count on much here, folks, from this little event. I don't think we're going to see a G1 class storm, but that's what's up here. Aside from that, folks, let's check out, do we have any asteroids here headed for the planet? There's quite a few out there floating around, thousands upon thousands of them, but the ones that they're monitoring here, ones that are coming somewhat close, are actually considerably far away. There's really not a whole lot here of any noteworthy closeness. 310-foot asteroid coming in today. Just over 500,000 miles here, but really that's super safe. Storm Prediction Center out here, nothing major in terms of severe weather. They got a little bit of rain going on in Southern California, Bakersfield area. They're just catching up on some of the rainfall. We've had a lot of rain up in Northern California here in the last week, so they can have a little bit of rain. After that, things dry out here across the West Coast, which is not good news. Massive low-pressure bomb up here across the Northeast, bringing with it a lot of cold air for the country. In fact, some of these temperatures are looking at, maybe 15 to 20 degrees below average here for a good portion of the country. As we put that into motion here, looks like another dip of low pressure, cold air coming in for the first week of December. Winter is hanging around here, it looks like. A lot of colder air coming down from the north. As far as precipitation goes for California, after today's event, let's see what we got. Man, nothing. Just dominant high pressure out there. Maybe some type of low pressure developing there across Southern California towards the second week of December. But, man, I hope things change out here. We need more than just than what we just had. I mean, that's a considerable amount. I picked up 7.5 inches of rainfall here outside of Chico. That's a lot for, just a couple days. But I need some more. This weather guy needs some more rain. That's for sure. All right, I'm out of here, folks. See, there's a couple earthquakes there on the China Lake Station. One on Japan as well. See, there's still rumbling over there. Dinsmore area picking up on some movement. It looks like the Pacific Plate's about ready to move somewhere in a big fashion. Whether it be West Coast or maybe out across Japan, we'll keep an eye on it and report back on anything that changes out here. Have yourself a good Tuesday, and we'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later. Stay safe.